You're welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll focus on organization change. And as you go through this presentation, please don't forget to subscribe, share the video, feel free to download it. Organizational change becomes so important in an organization because it is a conduit or it is a channel in which innovation and qualityness in an organization is introduced. Change literally means progress. Now, effecting this change may not always be effective because change on its own will bring uncertainty. As a manager working in an organization, you have a critical role to play in ensuring that the change effort is successful. It's also important to note that change in any organization may particularly face a lot of challenges or obstacles if it is usually brought in an unilateral manner, meaning if other members of the organization are not involved. Managers, therefore, must understand change and they should be willing to implement change in order for effective organization operation. Effective managers, particularly those working in health institutions, expect constant change because of the volatile work environment they are working in. Change typically results as a reaction to specific problems or opportunities the organization is facing. This may be based on internal or external stimuli, meaning there are factors that may be internal or external in nature which will force change. What could be the definition of change? They are a good number. The first one says this is the overall process which involves strategies that are used to moderate and manage the preparation for, effect of, responses to, and outcomes of any condition or circumstance that is new or different from what previously existed. Secondly, change can be defined as a structured approach to transitioning individuals, firstly, teams, secondly, and organizations from a current state to a desired future state. And this is done in order to fulfill or implement a vision and a strategy, meaning when change is being effected, it is moving this organization from its current state, moving to its future state. The other definitions would be that change management is the discipline that guides how we prepare, equip, and support individuals to successfully adopt change in order to drive organizational success and outcomes. It is also important to take note that in other definition, this has been termed as an organizational process that is aimed at empowering employees to accept and embrace change in their current environment. What could be the goal of changing? What could be the goal of organizational change? It is ultimately to improve the organization by altering how work has been done previously. It is also important to take note that there are characteristics of change, and I am therefore presenting three. Number one, change is constant, meaning in an organization, there could be change that would be coming and it is for a purpose. Secondly, change produces uncertainty, yet is not completely unpredictable. So there is uncertainty, it will bring anxiety, it will bring the fear that it comes with. then change creates both threats and opportunities. So these three stand out to be very important characteristics of organizational change. It's also important to take note that there are theories that have been devised to explain change. The first one is Rogers' change theory. Now, Rogers' change theory was developed by Everette Rogers, who worked on another theory done by Lewin. And out of it, he created a 5-staged theory, which has the following steps. Number 1, awareness. Number 2, interest. Number 3, evaluation. Number 4, implementation. And the 5th stage is adoption. On awareness, it's all about speaking to being aware or being, of course, knowledgeable that this opportunity or problem exists. Secondly, that organization develops an interest in that opportunity, that which it is aware of. Then after that, there is evaluation of that opportunity or problem. Implementation comes only after planning has been done. Okay, then lastly, there's adoption of that change. It's also important to take note that the other theorists that have also managed to develop theories of change include Spradley's theory. This, of course, is 8-staged, okay? And the steps that are involved in this theory include, number 1, recognizing the symptoms that change is needed, diagnosing the problem that have been analyzed. Thirdly, analyzing alternative solutions to that problem, selecting the change, planning the change, implementing the change, and lastly, evaluating the change and stabilizing the change. So this is 8-staged. Now, the change process has 3 phases. And by the way, the change process has 3 phases that were developed by Lewin. The first one is unfreezing. Unfreezing refers to the awareness of the opportunity or a need or a problem. Then from unfreezing, we'll have the second stage, which is known as experiencing the change or solution. So this is basically the situation where we have an organization having to feel, how will this change be? Thirdly, it is called refreezing. Refreezing occurs when the participants in the change situation accept and use the new attitude or behavior. Okay? So acceptance is assumed once refreezing has occurred and people integrate that change in their day-to-day work environment. What could be the forces that influence change? The external and internal forces. On external forces, we have marketplace, government roles and regulations, technology, the labor market, economic changes. On the internal forces, we have changes in organizational strategy, workforce changes, new equipment, the employee attitudes. So all these factors, when put together, they will affect organizational change. Change agents would include, number 1, managers, non-managers, outside consultants. Okay, so these are some of the change agents that can be available for an organization, or these are individuals that will ensure that change is implemented. There are 3 categories of change usually in an organization. The first one is categorized as structure, which includes work specialization, departmentalization, the chain of command, etc. The second one is technology, which would include the work processes, the method that are used, and the technology. Then the third category is people, which has to do with attitudes or the cultural attitudes, the work culture, expectations, perception, and behavior. Then apart from this, it's also important to take note that there are 4 areas or ways of implementing change. And this, as earlier on mentioned, they will fall under the 4 areas. Number 1 is structural, the people, technology, organizational development. So this is very critical for areas of implementing change: structural, people, technology, organizational development. What could be the sources of resistance to change? Because change itself, bringing change in an organization, is not very easy. So sources of resistance, number 1, it could be lack of understanding as why that change should be effected. Then secondly, uncertainty, self-interest of individuals, culture, that could be work culture, and lack of information to subordinates or other members of the organization. How can we ensure that these factors that are coming up, that are bringing out resistance, are managed? Number 1, communication and education of the work employees, participation, negotiations, forcing or coercion, support from top management. If these have been put in place, then resistance to change will be abated. It's also important to note that change in its own is constant. Then apart from that one, change cannot be avoided. Thank you for listening to this video, and hopefully that you have obtained 1 or 2 ideas on organizational change. I urge you to subscribe to this channel, Nest Connect Institute. Please spread the word that it exists, and it's for your own good and my good. Together, we can bring out strong and important educational services, particularly to Zambia, Africa, and globally. So do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for listening to this channel. Thank you for watching this channel.